This story begins with Emperor Jin of the Shang Dynasty, the largest and most powerful dynasty in China. Leading his vast army, Emperor Jin was about to attack King Su of Jiz, who had revolted against the Shang Dynasty and was now trying to break free. The emperor ordered his army to attack, starting with a heavy barrage of stones on the walls of Jiz. The strong walls crumbled under the assault. After this, Emperor Jin sent his 5 sons to lead the war. They attacked Jiz, and after a fierce battle, they killed King Su. Emperor Jin and his sons then set out to eliminate King Su's daughter, Yona. During the battle, a soldier suddenly attacked the emperor and severely wounded him with his sword. The emperor's blood poured onto an ancient rock, which then flowed into a magical vessel. As soon as the blood touched the vessel, a strange and intense light spread, as though a witch imprisoned for centuries had just been freed. On the other side, King Su's daughter, Yona, decided to end her life. But suddenly, a fierce blizzard arose, covering everything in snow as the wind howled. When the storm subsided, Yona was found alive once more. However, she was no longer the same Yona. The soul of the witch that had been released was now inside her. Unaware of this terrifying event, Emperor Jin decided to take Yona to his kingdom after the battle. After the war, it was revealed that the emperor's 4 sons were not his biological children. They were the sons of different kings from various regions. The emperor had taken them under his protection to prevent any rebellious intentions from these kings. Meanwhile, the witch-empowered Yona, now filled with magical powers, approached Emperor Jin. She possessed abilities that could captivate anyone. She told the emperor that if he supported her, she would make him the greatest emperor in China, with no one able to stand against him. Emperor Jin, still recovering from his injuries in the war, was skeptical of her words. But then Yona licked his wounds with her tongue, and in an instant, all of his wounds healed. Witnessing this miracle, Emperor Jin was astonished and fell into the witch's magical trap. After returning from the war, Emperor Jin organized a grand celebration for his soldiers and people. During this event, all the soldiers danced with their swords, celebrating their victory. The emperor's father and elder brother also joined in the celebration. As night deepened, the witch inside Yona began to make her moves. Under the influence of her magical powers, Emperor Jin's elder brother fell under her control. Suddenly, without any warning, he drew his sword and attacked the emperor's father, killing him in a single strike. Chaos erupted in the room, and the brother then attempted to attack the soldiers. At that moment, one of Emperor Jin's sons, Sith, stepped forward and killed him. Meanwhile, the gods in heaven were watching these events unfold. The witch's growing power had started to worry them. Seeing this, they decided to send 3 of their messengers to Earth to counter Yona's magic. The following day, after being shattered by the events, Emperor Jin gathered himself and declared himself the new heir to the kingdom. At that moment, the temple priest arrived and made a prophecy: a great disaster was about to strike their kingdom. Because of the murder of both the king and his father, the kingdom had been cursed. If this curse was not broken in time, it would lead to the kingdom's destruction. The priest's prophecy and the warning of the curse troubled the emperor. In response, he declared that exactly 1 year later, he would sacrifice himself. With this sacrifice, the ancestors would be pleased, and the clouds of destruction hanging over the kingdom would dissipate. That night, while everyone in the palace was preparing to sleep, Jing, a member of the palace, sensed something strange in one corner. He saw a fox roaming inside and began to follow it. The fox cleverly darted towards the emperor's room. Once inside, Jing was shocked to find Yona there with Emperor Jin. Emperor Jin ignored Jing's words and ordered him to leave. Deeply troubled by the incident, Jing decided to uncover the true nature of Yona. The story now shifts to the Western King S and his kingdom. The curse was also having an impact there. King S's crops had all failed, and in search of a way to save his land, he decided to seek help from Emperor Jin of the Shang Empire. King S left his eldest son in the forest and traveled to meet the emperor. Meanwhile, 3 messengers from heaven arrived on Earth, carrying a magical book that could end the curse and save the emperor's life. The emperor summoned a famous magician from his kingdom, hoping he could lift the curse. Just then, the 3 heavenly messengers arrived at the palace and found the magician. Upon seeing him, they immediately realized that he was no ordinary human, he was a demon who dealt in dark powers. The 3 messengers handed the magical book to the emperor, saying, "This book can save your kingdom. With the secrets and powers hidden within, you can eliminate the troubles ahead." The magician, aware of the book's power, immediately spoke up. "With this book, you can capture any spirit. It can not only stop troubles but also grant you limitless power." Hearing this, the emperor immediately ordered a soldier to be killed. As soon as the soldier's soul departed, the magical book trapped it. Witnessing this scene, the three messengers were stunned. They realized that they had made a grave mistake. The book was a power that should only be in the hands of someone filled with compassion, but Emperor Jin's soul was filled with anger and greed. The messengers quickly decided that they must take the book from the emperor and place it in a safe location. As they tried to take the book back, chaos erupted in the palace. The magician and soldiers tried to stop them. When the messengers fled with the book, Jing pursued them, and they all ended up in a deep valley. One of the messengers told Jing, "The compassion in your father's heart has vanished. His power and anger have blinded him. This book is not safe in his hands." But Jing refused to accept this. During the argument, Jing's foot slipped, and he fell into the river. The messenger immediately jumped in to save him, and they managed to reach the shore, avoiding the swift current. However, as they regained their balance, Sith appeared and cunningly seized the book, attempting to escape, but the book fell into the river. The messengers did not give up. They used all their strength and finally managed to retrieve the book from the river. Just then, a bright and thunderous lightning flashed through the forest. With that flash, the messengers realized that a demon had been born in the kingdom, one who would bring destruction and devastation to the land. Meanwhile, the demon child encountered the Western King and Sitha's father on the way. The king thought that he would raise this demon child. However, the messengers arrived and insisted that the demon child be sent with them so they could guide him onto the right path and prevent any future destruction. The messengers then gathered the kings from all four directions and informed them about the emperor's cruelty. They told them that the emperor had become so blind with a lust for power that he no longer cared about the disasters occurring in the kingdom. The four kings decided that if the emperor did not change his ways, they would unite from all four corners and attack him. However, Sith was secretly listening to these discussions and came forward, saying that the kings would never succeed with this plan. The Western King recognized his son Sith, but just then, the emperor's soldiers arrived and captured the four kings, imprisoning them in the palace. When the emperor learned that the four kings had united to rebel against him, he became enraged. He ordered that anyone who challenged his power would not be spared. He clearly stated that the four kings should be killed by their own sons. Following this order, except for Sith, the other three of the emperor's sons killed their respective fathers. But Sith, weeping, begged the emperor for his father's life. He said to the emperor, "We need to find out the real reason behind this rebellion. We need to know who is behind this and why all this is happening." Sith offered to help the emperor capture the traitors. The emperor, calmed by Sitha's words, immediately ordered that the Western King be imprisoned. Meanwhile, Yona cast her magical spell on the emperor and trapped him in her web. When the emperor's wife advised him to stay away from Yona, he ignored her warning. A terrible incident occurred where Yona killed the queen in front of the emperor. When Jing learned about this, he decided to confront Yona with his sword. Yona, in her magical fox form, began to fight Jing. Just then, Emperor Jin arrived, and Jing accidentally injured the emperor with his sword. In a fit of rage, the emperor ordered his soldiers to capture Jing, but Jing seized the opportunity and escaped. Witnessing this, Sith, who already knew the truth about the emperor, helped Jing escape through a secret door and sent him to a safe place. The next day, Sitha's elder brother's son visited Sith because he was worried about the sudden disappearance of their father and the Western King. Sith told him that their father had been imprisoned by the emperor. To free their father, the son offered to trade his life with the emperor. The emperor accepted the son's offer. Meanwhile, a messenger from heaven arrived and told Jing and Sith that Jing was the one who could prevent the impending destruction in the kingdom, but he needed to become the emperor. This decision would mean opposing their own father and family, which deeply troubled them. The temple priest, who was aware of Yona's true form, suggested that if they could remove the sly fox from the palace, the truth would be revealed. Elsewhere, the emperor, showing his cruelty, fed a piece of human flesh to the Western King. When the Western King found out, he went mad. But the emperor honored his deal and released him. The next day, the emperor, along with Yona, went to the ancestral temple to marry her. The priest, who knew the emperor's true power and Yona's real form, suddenly grabbed Yona's hand and said, "I have now imprisoned all your powers." He then called for Jing and Sith. Jing told the emperor that Yona was the one responsible for his grandfather's death, but the emperor denied it, claiming that she was no magical fox but an ordinary human like them. After a debate, the priest forced the emperor to make a promise: if Yona was truly a fox, he must kill her. The emperor reluctantly agreed. Then, the priest took out his heart and offered it to Yona to eat. As soon as Yona ate the heart, she transformed into a cunning fox. But the emperor, who was already ensnared by Yona's magic, broke his promise and said, "I don't believe in the words of my ancestors. Yona is the most important thing to me." Hearing this, Jing became sad, realizing that his father was not just under Yona's magic but had turned into a devil himself. The emperor continued his decisions, ordering his general to capture Jing and kill him. The next morning, at the same time, he tells Sith to bring his father's head. Meanwhile, the emperor sets fire to the temple and completely burns it down. In the midst of the burning temple, Yona reveals her true nature to the emperor, saying, "I have been trapped in that vessel for 500 years, but with your royal blood, I am free now. I will make you immortal, and you will be the greatest emperor in history." The next day, Sith brings a wrapped cloth with what the emperor believes is his father's head. However, when the cloth is opened, it contains only dirt. Sith rebels against the emperor and begins fighting the soldiers. Meanwhile, another prince, Jean, kills him. A fierce battle ensues between Sith and the emperor, but just as the battle intensifies, the heavenly messengers arrive. They lift Jin's body and take it to heaven to bring him back to life. The fight between Sith and the emperor continues, and finally, Sith's sword strikes the emperor, killing him. Sith then sets out to save his father. When the soldiers try to kill his father, the demon child, whom Sith's father had raised from the jungle, comes to their aid. He kills the soldiers and saves Sith's father. Meanwhile, a stone dragon created by the wizard chases Sith. Using his cleverness, Sith manages to drown the dragon in the river and escapes. In the final scene, Yona is shown healing the emperor's wounds, bringing him back to life. The emperor rises once again with Yona by his side. Friends, I put in a lot of effort to create these videos by myself so that I can share the best stories with you. If you like this story, please subscribe to my channel and make sure to like the video. With your support, I can bring new and exciting videos. Please let me know in the comments below how you liked this story.